Just the transition over the last several months from being very unconscious thinker towards being more consciousness. And I feel that this question that I've asked has applied in that transition. So I wanted to just get your comments on what I'm observing.
Mhm. Do you want to elaborate this question in your own language?
Yeah, okay. So, when I'm anxious, um, when I still have those situations, of course.
Mhm.
It's not 100% either way, but when I'm anxious, I find later I'm not even aware of what the thought was. It was like unconscious at that phase, and I view that as being in a negative. Any anxiety, anger, all these things, I view those as negative. And but on the other hand, when I'm present and have the presence of my consciousness, I feel, no matter what the situation is, I feel quite much more comfortable, and I view that. I'm referring to that as being in a positive or blissful state.
Basically, when you are having emotional attacks or mind attacks, then you are not that happy or settled. And when it's not attacking you, like when the dog is not biting, then you feel settled. So you are still dependent on this rabid dog called mind. Because when it wants to please you, it is settled and then you feel peace. And when it bites you, then you feel unhappy. And sometimes, yes, you are right. Sometimes there might be anxiety or unhappiness or restlessness, but we don't know. There's no thought. And you are very well right in this, that it's not always the thought. But I want to tell you, this is all the same game. Whether there is a thought or right now there is no thought, that restlessness, that anxiety, that unhappiness, boredom, and all sorts of things, conditioned reflexes comes only from mind. They are not outside the mind. They all come from mind. All conditioning of every individual, the way we behave, the way we like things and we dislike and we think this is right and that is wrong, and all that story of an individual is only mind, not us, including our name, shape of the body, work we do, all our story, whatever you write on your resume, is the story of the mind. It is not your real resume. So, to transcend it, you have to leave dependency on mind to keep you happy or unhappy. When you have all your interest in that, then whether mind stays or goes away, who cares? Sometimes I feel some practices makes you more aware, especially meditation, that what mind is doing and how it is functioning. More unconscious a person is, he has no clue about thoughts and what is happening. He's just, a thought comes, he acts. So he feels he is thinking and he's acting on it. What is wrong? Only when a seeker starts noticing that he is separate from thoughts, then the journey starts. Then he can look, who am I who is watching these thoughts? Then you look into that I. And by your looking, by that attention, that I, ego, for whom these thoughts are serving, it starts dissolving. So, what anxiety, what happening, if you are still concerned with it, it will create problems for you. So, when we get annoyed by people and they know that you get annoyed, they can annoy you more. Now, your key is in their hand. That's why, some people who are bullier, who bully others, they only bully when you get bullied. So, same is with mind. And you will not be concerned about mind unless you have some vested interest in mind. Let's say you know a person who is not a good person and you don't like his habits or the way he behaves with others, but you still want to be friend with that person because he does a lot of work for you, for your ego. He helps you in different things. So you tolerate all his other habits. Because here relationship is not a friendship. Here relationship is what I gain from the other person. Same is very much true about mind. Because mind helps us to gain materialistic things in this world, helps in our networking, keeps us on our toes to acquire things and so many stuff which you are interested right now. If you have no interest, if you don't care, whatever comes and goes, then mind will become your slave. It has nothing to talk to you. Basically, mind is not talking to us, we are talking to mind. Our interest is creating all these thoughts, all sorts of thoughts. People divide, categorize thoughts into negative thoughts, positive thoughts. They say an average person gets 70 to 80,000 thoughts in a day. And an average person, 80% of these thoughts are negative in a way. Like they put doubts on things or create anxiety. Even it could be a little bit of stress. And some people say you change negative thoughts to positive thoughts, give positive affirmations and all those things. For a person who is quite negative, this can help, but you are still in the pool of thoughts. When you start looking for silence, you will find silence within you because silence never goes away. Thoughts goes away. In between thoughts there is silence. Even during thought there is silence. Silence never leaves because silence is us. If you start respecting silence, then silence will take over everything. Then you will not be on mercy of mind to get that silence. And thoughts will continue to disturb us till there is an ego. till there is a person, an individual who is dealing with things, that doership. Look there, look for this person within you. Try to find out. The moment you look towards that person shies away. Look, I'm saying like it can be a fraction of a second, yes, but for some it might take long because of your what you've invested in this person. You still are unhappy but also happy. You want it not to disturb you and stay with you so you can use it. Meditate always on the silence. Never meditate on mind. Some people have this habit that they keep looking what is next thought. That is just sheer madness if we keep looking into thoughts. You look into silence. If a thought comes, then just ignore these thoughts. You stay as a witness to them. Bhagavan used to say that when a thought comes, the question arises to whom this thought comes. Then the answer comes to me. And then you question, who am I? So basically, you have to come to this I. When you look towards this I, actually silence is looking towards I. You have changed the position now. You are in a better position from where everything can be seen. Like this is the best seat in theater from which you can observe thoughts and ego and everything. And this observation as an observer who is detached, who has no interest, is the end of the game. How long can that ego survive that seeing? It was deceiving you until you were not looking where it is, what it is. Once you understand the whole thing, whole gamut, it just vanishes. It is only our own energy which we are imparting to it, keeps it there. And I'll tell you, thousands of activities goes away the moment we start staying as a witness. Because if you write a journal, if you see what we do, so many things we do for the enjoyment of this body only, or enjoyment of the mind, or pleasing people, not helping others, pleasing people because we want something out of them. See how we are very polite with some big authority or something, someone whom we think can give us. And someone who is our subordinate or working for us, we treat them badly. At least in Western world, there is no term like servant. There were slaves in the past, I know, but not servants. In India, everyone has servants. Serving you, serving your ego. And so many of Indians who move to Western world, the only thing they feel hurts them is that there is no servant here. They are so used to servants. They will keep sitting at one place. Even that servant will bring their remote control of the TV, serve them water, and their body becomes bigger and bigger, and their ego becomes much bigger than the body. Look into that which wants a servant, which wants others to please us, which wants to derive benefit from others, which always find faults in others, not in your own self. When we keep looking into that, that person actually disappears. This is the truth, this is reality. Whatever technique you use, there are actually no techniques also. It is just we call them techniques. It is actually contemplation, and keep looking from that which you are. Then what you are not just vanishes. Beyond mind, from where this energy is coming, is the source. There's nothing beyond it. There's nothing to achieve. Even to get to that is not to achieve anything. To know that is, you can call it a goal if you want to goal, just to know that. Now I have to tell you a very, very important point. It is not an intellectual understanding. It is nothing of this world from which you can relate. And most importantly, it is mystical. It cannot be explained by anything. And how it happens, we keep looking into the cause, how it happens, but I would say it happens only by grace. Even interest in it comes by grace. No arrogant person can ever get to it. How much efforts he or she puts into it. By simple knowing that arrogance comes from ego only, and this state is egoless. To get that grace of that, to reveal it to you, you need to be the deserving candidate. To be deserving candidate, you have to be humble. You have to have humility. Then only that grace dawns on you. So the ego, which is that arrogance, can get everything in this world to some extent, probably, but can never show us our true self. It is incapable, or rather, it is the obstacle. So no person can be a realized person. There is nothing like a realized person or personality. When the person disappears, whatever left is only realization. Realization is that there is no person actually. Person is the one who is in cage of the mind, who keeps dreaming in this world. One person commented that when I'm in satsang, I am in peace and I feel calm. Out of satsang, and the mind starts attacking me. And it seems it is with more vengeance, it becomes more stronger in a way. I would say just watch it. We have given trouble to mind for so long, all our life. Now it is mind's turn to give us trouble. Bear with it. Just stay there. If you stop giving work to the mind, slowly and slowly mind will fade away. Love your own pure silence. This silence is the fountain of bliss, and it's within you. I would say we are independent in bliss, and we are dependent on others for sorrow. Sorrow only comes when there are others. Those others are only in your mind. Stop using the language that I am busy, I have no time, I will contemplate later. That later never comes. Life is too short. When I meet people who are in their 80s and 90s, they all say it went away so quick. They still think they are young in their heart. Because that in heart is always young, always fresh. It never gets old. Kabir said that this life is so short. It is like the morning star, which is there only for an hour or half an hour in morning and then it disappears in sunlight. Or it's like a bubble. It just bursts after a few seconds. It's not about the length. It is actually problem is that if you have gathered garbage all your life, now at the age of 80 or 90 you want to get rid of it. It will be very hard. Old habits, to get free from them is so difficult. It takes time. If someone thinks that this effortless state can be achieved without efforts, then your mind is fooling you. Yes, experiences comes to people all of a suddenly. It is like grace, self shows itself to you. It happens to almost all seekers at some stage, or they get into spirituality because of that mystical experience. And then looks like the door is closed again. And then you try to open that door again. Because once you have tasted that nectar, then whatever in this world someone gives you, you are not satisfied. You want to go back to that because you know what it was. You can't even describe. Your mind can say whatever it has to, but it has no clue. This whole thing is mystical. Mystical means you cannot explain by logic, by science, by 2 plus 2 equal to 4. It can happen to the most sinner, or it might not happen to the person who is sitting in temple all the time. So, how it happens, to whom it happens. In this, you cannot say if I do 2 hours of meditation for 6 months and it will happen. If any meditation school takes guarantee of it, that means they don't know about it. If someone wants it to happen ASAP, then that urgency should be in that person. Your intensity to know that, your longing for it, your love for it, intense love, which we call devotion. So never take devotion and knowledge as two separate things. They are all one. I don't take them as two different paths. But keep your attention there. Remembrance is the key. For a jnani, a path of a jnani is remembering, I am that, staying as a witness, staying in that impartial neutral zone. Or for a devotee, it could be just singing praise to the Lord or taking His name. Remembering that nameless, formless, in whatever way it happens within your system, that is the best way. People are worried about thoughts. I would say thoughts are the parameter. Thoughts helps us to know whether we are getting closer or away from the self. Some people I have seen comment on videos that why I use a language of duality when it is non-dual. Because I'm talking to an ego. If you are already free, you will not be watching the video. People make so many concepts and then they want to follow that concept with the ego. How is it possible? I have to bring that non duality Advaita to the level where it can help you. It is not a teaching which I want to give you for your intellectual mind and you can argue with others for Shastrarth or just for the sake of intellectual argument. You need to be free. Free from this dualistic mode. You cannot talk about non-duality with the ego. Ego is duality. When ego gone, then what is left is just one. Till you are in dream, it is duality. For you. And the dream gone, that there is only one. God is one and you are that God, if you call it God. But before that, there is duality of mind. Not just duality, maybe multiple. Mind creates so many personalities, so many things. Split personalities, multiple personalities in a person. Remembrance is the key. This jewel of the self is in everyone's heart. But to open the door of heart, only thing needed is your interest. When I say remembrance is your interest, when I say attention, it is your interest. The one who has interest in it, he or she will have no interest in thoughts, and thoughts will just disappear. Thoughts are serving only one purpose, to keep you in illusion. That is their purpose. Because you're enjoying this illusion. When our interest is in reality, thoughts have no role to play, or maybe minimal. Understand what desires mean. Desires mean that Absolute has prepared this story of your life, of the body, written already a script for you, and you are not happy. He wants to give you this and you want that. That is what desire is. You want to create your own little kingdom away from that Absolute. You think you are too smart. You know more. And you say, I can achieve, I can do it. No, I will do it. Full of arrogance. So the dream continues. And because you want those things by your intense desires, that one who is full of compassion gives you those things. Because you want this dream, he thinks that's good. Go ahead. Then a seeker comes, he doesn't want anything, he only wants him. But he wants to see a seeker who only wants him, not as one commodity. Then he reveals himself. So I say lukewarm approach never works in it. Because what is lukewarm approach? Oh, look, I'll check it out. I'll try it out. Okay, I'll give 5 minutes or half an hour of meditation every day. Let's see what happens. Keep doing it for 100 years, nothing will happen. And if you don't do any meditation, but you have longing for it, it will happen in a fraction of a second. It is nothing to do with technique. When we are disinterested in things and beings, for any type of indulgence. How do we live our life? Do we all run to caves or forest? In the past, people used to do a lot, even now. In some countries, it is very common, like Thailand, Tibet, to some extent in India. But we can all be in our own house with the people around us and be there only. Not everyone has to turn Buddha, leave home. Stay at the source. When you speak, speak from that silence. When you act, act from that silence. Move your dependence from mind to silence. Auspiciousness of that silence should emanate from all actions of the body and all speech. Don't worry about the etiquettes or society or people or what is politically correct. Honor silence than anything else, even if that means end of life in this body. Honor that silence. I'm not asking you to fight others, but honor that silence. It is sheer madness. That silence has its own madness. Once you enter into that silence, it finishes off everything. And you're not unhappy about it. You are thankful about it. In this world, someone steals even a small object, we get angry. Or something we loses or gets stolen, we get upset. Here we are giving up everything, identity, everything we are giving up, and still we are happy. How paradox it is. We are giving up ownership of this mind body complex. What about things attached to mind body? In 1 second, everything goes away. Actually, it really goes away. It might appear that it is there. It appears and doesn't appear. You are free. Be like a child who is so inquisitive to know what is in this heart. Keep that innocence. If you have no clue about it, then show your restlessness to that Supreme that I want to know. Our devotion to that melts away our ego. We are this pure silence, blissful silence, divine silence. In reality, we are not individuals in this satsang. We are just one energy, one awareness, looking through different eyes, but the inner eye is just there in the heart. Everything controlled from that divine, pure self. Be always in that energy. I'll tell you one thing on a lighter note. Ego, mind, body complex is not you. And you are in this box hiding in your heart. This mind body complex has lost its way because you are not there. Though you are there, you are giving energy, but your blessing to the body is not there. In its, you are not have unfolded in the body. You have not given your own darshan to this mind body. And it is only working through your subordinate who is wrongly representing you in the body as ego. When this ego realizes its mistake, that I have messed my life, and it bows down its head in shame and looks within, then you manifest in the body as you. Before that, show is going on without you. Now you have to wake up. There was only trickle of flow of that energy through ego. You have to open these floodgates. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you.